Welcome to State of the Multiverse. This is our community stream. I am Minus and Erin. Theoretically, he will be here soon. But I figured it's already late, so I better just get started without him. So thank you very much for joining us. Hi, Siobhan. Good to see you. Good to see you, James. Hi, Bob. Good to see you as well. Hey, Stretch. Awesome to see you. Happy New Year, everybody. If I haven't seen you prior to this. I have seen most of you prior to this, but hey, this is also for the people watching the VOD. So, 2020 is over. Thank God. I don't know that it's helped much, mind you, right? For those watching later, this is the day after the United States Capitol was stormed by a group of Trump supporters led by right-wing lunatics. I won't say all the Trump supporters were right-wing lunatics, but there were a lot of neo-Nazi type flags in that group. Way too many. There was a shirt that I can't get over it. It says, Camp Auschwitz, work brings freedom. And on the back, it said staff. Right? If anybody requires historical context for that, let me know, because yeah. Hi, Rowan, good to see you. Yeah, that was a bit much, I think, right? It should be a bit much for everybody, but I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. My current prediction is that based on the fact that nobody seems to be willing to hold anybody accountable for anything, and none of these assholes have been arrested, and the GOP is, some of them are still supporting this whole movement, and the Democrats don't seem to have the spine to give anybody any consequences for anything. My prediction is that we're about to experience the troubles in the United States. I'm sort of a Cassandra about this stuff. I am a science fiction and dystopian writer. I have been pretty good at predicting, like, when Trump got elected, I'm like, this is going to be an absolute disaster. Things are going to fall apart. Democracy's going to fray, right? You know, and everybody was like, oh, I'm sure it can't be that bad. What can happen in 4 years? I've been right every step of the way. So I'm telling you now, right, if you're a vocal liberal or leftist in the United States, please start checking your car daily for pipe bombs. I'm not even kidding, okay? Right? Which brings me to, yeah, 52 arrested, 5 shot. No, it was 1 shot. 1 person was shot. The other 4 people died of various misadventures and other health concerns. Most of them heart attacks. I hear some guy tased himself. So let's call it what it is, says Rowan. It was an insurrection incited by the president. Yeah, I'm not afraid to use those words, but I live in Canada. It's easier for me, right? Yes, I agree with Stretch completely. I'm not going to read what he said, but I agree. Barbarossa says there's also one of the neo-fascist symbols which has 6 million wasn't enough. Yeah, that's what that stands for. 6 million wasn't enough, which is sickening. Yeah, it is. I'll remind people that my grandmother was Jewish. My father is therefore considered Jewish. That makes me half Jewish, right? Yeah. I'm not playing around with these people anymore, right? So I know where that goes. Oh, are we up to 67 arrests, Bob? That's encouraging. 1 lady was crushed. Oh, that's terrible. That's really, really, really terrible. Yeah, they're looking for leaders. Good. Good. I hope there will be consequences. I will feel better if there are. Okay, why am I bringing this up? Well, you know, I feel the context is important, even when we're coming to, like, art and community and creative stuff. You know, like, I can't help but be worried. And, you know, it kind of threw me through a loop yesterday. So I suspect that it may continue to do so as things unfold. So that's some fair warning, right? Stretch says, "Well, if that number wasn't enough, then they can, then please, they can feel free to put themselves in that number." Yeah, right. Okay, so that brings me to "If This Goes On, Don't Panic," which is our podcast of speculative fiction, hope, and resistance, where my co-hosts, Alan Bailey, Rachel Renee, and Kat Rambo, and I have been. It's If you haven't heard it, it's a podcast about speculative fiction and hope punk, and how fiction can inspire hope even in the darkest of times, right? And it is overtly political. I'm not going to lie, right? So maybe that's not something that interests you, but we've been doing it. We've done some good stuff. We did a holiday episode where we brought back some of our most popular guests, and that is available still on VOD on the Twitch channel. Once it is passed out of the VOD, it will, of course, appear on our podcast link, which is, let's see here, I have it active because I wanted to, yeah, I always forget because it's like, is the site in order first or is it the name, right? So that is our podcast link, itgodp.libsyn, libsyn.com. Right. So it'll be up there pretty quick. We also have a lot of really good episodes with some amazing people, many of whom are known to you guys because a lot of you are also part of the World Anvil community. So, definitely check it out. Yeah. I'm going to be recording an episode the day after tomorrow, where I'm reading a book for it. I have an ARC, right, an advanced reader's copy or advanced review copy, right, and it's pretty good. It's a pretty good book, so I'm kind of eager to interview the author. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, okay. Response to the comments here. Bob says the head of QAnon was filmed on the Senate dais. He'll go down. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure he actually will. Right. Rowan says articles of impeachment have been drawn up and Pence is being encouraged to invoke Article 25. Well, we'll see. I think they should, right? My personal opinion is that they should come down like a ton of bricks right now, right? And vocally denounce this movement. Remove Trump. Yes, I realize that there's only 13 days left to his administration. And I think that if they don't actually remove him in some way, right, either at the 25th or I think the 14th Amendment was being mentioned as well, which is no one can hold office who incites insurrection against the United States. Unless they do one of those two things, shit's going to get bad for the next few years, guys. And I don't really know how that's going to end, right? So, because it's not going to quit, you know? Bob says Article 25 may be tough. Yep, one of the few remaining full cabinet members already resigned. There may not be enough left to invoke Article 25. The acting secretary can't vote. Yeah. Well, here's hoping. Here's hoping. Does that include members of Congress, says Siobhan, for Article 14? Potentially. There are people who are indeed calling for that, right? Yeah. So it is possible. There is a movement. People are calling for those who have contested the election results on spurrilous claims of widespread election fraud, which of course is utter bunk. They're except maybe the other way, right? Because of all the gerrymandering and the closing down of polling stations in areas likely to vote Democrat, and an active effort to disenfranchise poor and people of color. You know, yeah, if you wanted to argue it on the other side, maybe I could see it, but no, right? And nobody, yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm not gonna preach, right? I'm just gonna give information, right? And that's what I currently know. And hey, Elvin Shoes, good to see you. Welcome, guys. This is awesome. Okay. So yeah. So this may affect our podcast is why I'm mentioning it, right? I've actually had a conversation with my co-hosts who are vocal leftists, as you know, in part on the show, right? Who live in the United States. Alan lives in Pennsylvania, right? We've had conversations about what to do if things get too bad politically in the United States, right? And it may involve, me taking the, reins of control of the podcast so that it's officially in Canada and therefore there's less that can be done, right? So we've had that conversation. We're going to have another conversation now, right? And that'll be me urging Alan to move somewhere that there aren't as many uh it isn't as big a possibility of his car getting bombed, put it that way, right? Okay. James says UK wise it has been bad since 2017 and we keep having yearly disasters. The world has gone to shit. Okay. I do want to emphasize, right? There is a plague going on. It's scaring people. There's constant stress. You're under constant stress. I'm under constant stress. We're all under constant stress. And whether we choose to talk about it or not, it still affects us, right? There's also, we underestimate in the United States that there are a lot of desperate people. There's been a lot of people out of work because of the pandemic. There's very little relief that has been offered. And when people are desperate, they start to do crazy things, right? I'm not saying this excuses it, but I am saying that it is probably stirring the pot, right? And people are probably doing things they would not otherwise do because they are pushed to desperate levels of things. Like it's not abnormal for governments to be overthrown during a famine. That has happened like throughout history, right? Or during plagues, right? So it's a thing, right? And we need to have a little patience in some respects for the effect that that has on people, because it does, right? Rowan says we should count ourselves lucky Mr. Trump is not smarter, otherwise he would have used COVID as an excuse to declare martial law and delay the election indefinitely. Legit. Elvin Shoe says people do crazy things, making them desperate makes them dangerous. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Stretch says to James, and I'm sure since they both live in the UK, this is in regard specifically to the UK situation. Been bad for a lot longer than that. It's been going on for a long time. Legit. Hey, Pass the Meeple. Good to see you. I watched Pass the Meeple stream the other day. Actually, he's another Canadian, practically a neighbor who lives in Edmonton, which is like the province over. Actually, that way, the province over. Right. And, he's a writer and he writes cozy mysteries. So I was checking that out. And space opera, apparently. So I haven't seen him writing a space opera yet, but hey, I'm always into space opera. So check him out. I'll put his link in the chat in case anybody that wants to check him out. Pass the meeple. There he is. So, yeah. Yeah. James says, I was trying to be positive to Stretch. Nice. Okay, that's good news. Dinosaur Bob says Pelosi just spoke, invoke 25th or Congress will impeach. Not that impeaching did anything the last time, but this time maybe they'll actually remove him. Right? Elvin Chu says, I still haven't decided what my main theme will be. Yeah, legit. Barbarossa says, I will say this, I am very scared. This year has been terrifying, especially here in Georgia. You're sweet, passing people. He says, thanks, I'm not as entertaining as Sable, but then is anyone. There's lots of people who are more entertaining than me, but thank you. I'm flattered by the compliment. Yeah, Barbarossa, I feel you, man. If Trump is removed, then it might be okay. If he isn't, then I'm really going to urge you to move out of Georgia. And I understand your financial situation. I know you're trying to go to school. Get out anyway. Greg is equal. Greg is awesome. Greg is awesome. I really enjoy Greg. I wish I saw more of his streams, but he's on at a time of the morning I am rarely available to watch, right? So, oh, wow. Hey, thanks, Elfin Shoes. You're amazing. Yay. Elfin Shoes, right? Who is also Akimoto's, right? Is probably one of our top supporters. He's always gifting subs like this. He's a subscriber under both his accounts here at the channel, right? And he is a patron. So you're amazing and I love you. Thank you so much. Plus, he's awesome and he's fun and he comes up with creative and cool stuff. Okay, so speaking of creative and cool stuff, I'm going to try not to talk about politics the whole time, even though I am really worried about it. But, okay, so we've talked about the podcast, so that's continuing. We're probably not, we don't have a lot of live episodes planned. We're back to what our original intent was, which was one recorded episode a month. And that is because most of our co-hosts are back to work, right? So I'm sure that will continue. Yeah, Barbara. Okay, good. Barbarossa says I wouldn't be lying if I said I wasn't looking at alternative housing as well as places to run to and plane tickets. Good plan. Okay, so my lazy ass husband. Okay, no, he slept terribly last night and is having trouble getting his crap together this morning. He said he would come join me as soon as he was up and organized, but I suspect we will not see him until nearly the end of the hour. So, all right, let's go to the main screen and I'll try to show you what else I did. My wife and I just said, seeing the news, I wouldn't mind staying at home for another year, says Elvin Shoes. Legit. Yeah, I kind of feel ya. I do. I do. All right. So, other stuff that we're doing. Now, this was my podcast up here. But I didn't capture the thing, of course, because why would it? I don't understand. Why do you not do it? Okay. Every time I have, okay, had to change this particular window since the last update, it makes me go right into the scene and edit the scene to show you what's actually going on. Okay, so sorry about that. All right, we're back in business now. All right, so I did World Ember. That's the wrong one. Okay, so this is what I've done for World Ember. These are my articles here. I concentrated on quality rather than quantity this month. I was not at all worried about making the word count. After all, I am an overwriter. So I just concentrated on putting out articles. And my rules for this was I was going to try to do something for each category. I was going to do something I actually needed to do for the world, you know, stuff that's been delayed that I should have gotten around to and hadn't yet. And I was not going to be distracted by prompts. If the prompt fit, great. If it didn't, meh. Right? So that was my plan. Right? So I did, I think, 6 articles, actually got finished, but you know, they're anywhere from like 1,500 to 4,500 words, I think. So, you know, I turned out like more than 16K words in World Ember. So it is loading slow. I apologize. I will drink my coffee while it is doing that. Okay, so this is all very important stuff to the Toy Soldier Saga. Right? The articles that did best were Shellback Tattoo, which, you know, tended to be leading the short list, I'm very proud to say, in ritual and ritual tradition category for most of the month. So I was very proud of that. Thank you guys for your support. And the Battle of Wylinta's Rings, which was my military conflict article. I was very excited about writing this article. I was like, you know, everyone was saying Delian always wins this category. And I was like, need to challenge that, just because if somebody always wins, they need to be challenged, right? So I waited until World Ember to write this particular article. And I knew I was going to have a lot of fun with it because it had maps and everything. I don't know if you've seen my maps. Probably you have, but okay, we're going to show you my maps. Oh, I know why this is running slow, because this damn page is still loading. You know what? Goodbye. I don't need that right now. Okay. Right. So the big thing I was excited about was about my maps. I made when I wrote the scene, I actually diced it out using the old Spelljammer space combat system, and I drew diagrams. So these maps are recreations of those diagrams in a prettier and more interactive way, right? So I've got the step-by-step layout. So the battle, all the arrows represent, like, here's the legend for what the red and the blue and things represent, right? The white arrows represent specific ship movements, and when they were important, I gave them labels. There's also a thing, prelude, up here, where I let people know what the initial conditions were that started the fight, right? And then each of these are specific maneuvers that were important to the outcome. The tags are the damage to the ship, right? If it obviously, if it's got a skull and crossbones, it was destroyed. It's effectively not going to work anymore, right? And then levels of damage: green, yellow, orange, red. Right. I had to use a torch to indicate that the ship was on fire, because there's no like specific fire graphics. So anyway, when you go through here, the lowest level map that you select is the one that they default to. I couldn't figure out how to make it work any other way, so you have to unselect, like, select the next step and then unselect, and then it'll show you the different stages of the fight. Plus, I also knew that I had an original Filk song, which I wrote to the tune of the Royal Oak, if you have ever heard of it, which is what inspired this battle. And I had a video for the song, and I figured between that, if I get the maps right, you can't get better than that for stuff to add to it. Plus, that's a secret for my patrons, just saying. La la la. So, I had a lot of fun with that article. It was cool. It was cool to write. And then other things were important, right? They all, as of the time they shut down the short list, they were all on the short list of their various categories. Like I said, I was concentrating on quality rather than quantity this time. So, and they're important, like the layout of known space as they currently understand the universe. This is the first of a series of protagonist articles that I'm going to do. This is what he's like at the beginning of the first book, A Few Good Elves, which that's a good segue to talk about that in just a second, right? But there will be other articles as he is promoted and because books take place over several years, right? He's basically a kid in this article, but there will be more articles, and they're going to be under subscriber groups, right? There's the subscriber groups for if you get them as a patron, right? Depending on the level that you've chosen, there are secrets and, different levels. And if you've chosen that particular level, then you'll get that information, right? Or you can select a self-selected subscriber group, which I should show you, actually. I should show you my world. Just a second. Okay. So here is the Toy Soldier Saga universe. You guys have seen it before. Right. So there's the link. All right, so if you scroll down on this page, you will eventually come to the community hub. Oh, it's going to be slow because it's going to try to show, so I better hurry up with this. Okay, so access community hub. It's down here under the maps. Oh, 83 Starfarers. That's more people than we had before. Thank you very much, those of you who joined. That's awesome. All right, so you click on that, and then you'll see an option to join a bunch of self-assigned subscriber groups, right? And this is based on what you've read, right? I've read A Few Good Elves. I've read To Know Your Enemy. You know, these are the various like important works that, you know, so there's a couple of novellas in there, right? If you've read them, then you'll get the information that is for that, which means that theoretically you could go in and click all of those and see a whole bunch of stuff. Now, that doesn't mean you get all the secrets and behind the scenes stuff that only patrons get. There are things that are very specific to them, right? But it does mean you'll get more information than otherwise. And if you want to do that, that's your business. I really don't care if you want to spoil books for yourself. That's your problem. Some people like to open Christmas presents before Christmas. I don't, right? I would rather read the book and then click the link. But there it is if you want to do that. Okay. All right. Yeah, this star pilot, very important profession in my world, faster than light travel. That's like kind of part of how my physics work. Turns out this is kind of, okay, I thought this was fantasy masquerading as science fiction. It turns out that it's science fiction masquerading as fantasy, masquerading as science fiction. Who knew? Okay, so that's what I have been working on. Now, let's see. Okay, Rowan's lurking. James will be back. That's totally cool, guys. And the chat is well moderated. Awesome. All right. Now I'm confused, says Stretch. Why? What's up? Oh, James hasn't left yet. He's just letting me know he will be leaving shortly. Okay. Well, if Erin doesn't get his ass in here, then I may not be doing his part of what he's up to. So, because, yeah. Oh, well. To be fair, he's not feeling well today, so it's just that we've already pushed this back twice, and I've kind of got a personal 3 rule, right? After that, you either got to do it or you got to just admit you're not gonna, right? Okay, so speaking of patrons, we have a new patron this month. Welcome, Laria. She joined yesterday, and that is really awesome. I really appreciate it. That brings our Patreon total up to over $100 a month, and that's awesome. I think I had a goal for $100 a month, so I'm gonna check and see what that was because I forgot. And this is an analytics page for my Patreon posts. I didn't realize that it had an analytics page, so that's handy. Let's see. What am I looking at here? I need to look at this, my main creator page. Right. Speaking of stuff, oh wow, wait a minute. Somebody upped their pledge. Holy crap, somebody upped their pledge a lot. That's brand new. That was not there last night. Last night it said like $105 or something. Now it says 122. Thank you to whoever did that. This is going to take 10 years to load, but there it is. Hopefully it's not bagging down my stream a little bit. Hi, Laria. Welcome. Yes, speaking of. Yeah, you arrived just in time for me to go, thank you, and welcome to my Patreon. You're awesome, and I really appreciate it. These shoes are walking, says Elvin Shoes. Okay. These boots are made for walking. Alright. There's something. No, that's my personal account. Okay. So this is going to take a million years to load. But there was a goal that I had for $100. And I know if it wasn't $100, there was a goal I had for 110. So obviously we've done whatever that is. So now I have to do something. I don't remember what that was, but I'm looking at it. At least I'm trying to. I can't. Patreon, it can be. Oh yes. View your public page. That's what I need to do. This thing about offering merch. This is part of the plan, right? That we're going to find a way to do merch over the course of the next year, right? We just haven't had the time to really invest in it yet. Actually, I can just go there. I don't have to stay here. Okay. So I will find out what my goal was. While that's loading, for patrons, um, we had a lot of fun at the karaoke party. Why did it change my, oh, that's probably showing it to me in Canadian dollars, isn't it? I don't want it to show things. Yeah, it is. Okay, so that's the price in Canadian dollars since I'm in Canada. There was a goal thing somewhere. I know there was a goal thing. You think I would be better prepared. Okay. Okay, whatever it is, I reached it. I have to do it. I'm sorry that I can't seem to find it today. I thought this was where you found it. But maybe that's something they got rid. Oh, there's my goals. Aha! Okay. So the next goal is writers' workshops. But $100. Ah! It is time for me to pay my partner who edits all my stuff. So Jamie edits my stuff so I can give him some money as a result of the Patreon reaching a certain goal and actually pay him for his amazing editing work. So that is cool. Okay, awesome. And then the next goal is that I will start to invest in some amazing writers' workshops and improve my craft. There are so many that I want to do. Oh my God, there's okay, there's a bunch of stuff at Cat Rambo School, which, speaking of which, I have a class there. Akimoto's upped. I see. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Yay. You're amazing. Wow. Really? That's how much it was? Or is that converting the Canadian dollar total there? I hope that's not what you're paying. I love you, but wow, that's insane. Okay. But yeah, but thank you guys so much for your support. And you know, we're working to improve things here all the time. Speaking of which, I'm back on schedule with publishing a chapter a week in both the Toy Soldier Saga and the Wyrd West, right? I guess I can go back to the downtime screen for the moment. So I will do that. Yes, I'm back on schedule for that. I'm also, like I said I was going to do, catching up on the stuff that I missed. I'm trying to produce 2 chapters in each of those a week. And it's actually not going to be as hard as you might be concerned about because I cleared my schedule for this month. Yeah, that would be overkill. That's your goal in euros. Okay, good. I was like, no, I hope that's what you're talking about. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, um, yeah, right. What was I saying? Okay. I'm putting out 2 chapters a week in each of my worlds. That's the goal. It will probably be more like 6 chapters in each a month because I always miss a week somehow. But that's the plan, right? And I cleared my schedule. I really wanted to participate in the 31 Days, 31 Stories challenge that is going on this month. If you haven't heard of it, this is being masterminded by World Anvil's own Coffee Quills, who you will remember from the Game of Tomes, right? And the Lady Wrights, who you may not remember from the Game of Tones. She participated, but she was always popping into people's streams and still does it and throws you, 50 bits and encourages you and says happy things, right? And she's just amazing, right? She's one of the morning streamers, so again, I don't see her as often as I would like, but she's just an awesome person and a community organizer, and they got together, and the challenge is write a different story every day with a series of prompts provided in the course of a month. And I thought that was the coolest shit ever. And I really wanted to do it, but I don't have the time. But I'm supporting this challenge, right? And you'll notice that I may be rating some people who are unfamiliar to you over the course of this month, because I'm going to try to give their streamers preference. I would like to support this, writer community initiative on Twitch. They're doing it again in August. I will be joining then, so that is part of the plan, right? Yeah, so I'm very excited about that. But in the meantime, the reason why I didn't is because I wanted to catch up on all the back things that I haven't done, right? And one of the back things was, first of all, edit, right? I need to finish A Few Good Elves, and I need to get it out this year. I've got to shit or get off the pot at this point. And the reason why I hesitate about it is because it was the first novel I finished, right? And, that makes it your baby, right? And you're always, I've rewritten parts of it several times, and I have constant self-doubt. Not everybody that I know in my life likes it. That also makes it difficult to have confidence in it. It's not, Jamie isn't a fan of it. He really likes my Wyrd West stuff. He's not a fan of Toy Soldier, and as much as I say that, not everybody's going to like your work, which is true, or everything you do, which is also true. And, fair enough, not everything is everybody's cup of tea, right? It's, it's more difficult when the people that you really respect in your life are not fans, right? So I've been humming and hawing for all these reasons, and that's it. So, Coffee Quills ATW writes, myself, and I forget who the fourth one is, but I think I might still have the graphic up. And if I do, I can show it to you. Oh, no, I don't, of course, because I'm a knob. All right. But we took a pledge that we were going to publish our novels this year. So it's going to happen. Now, I've spoken about this before. The goal hasn't changed. The plan is that I'm going to do a Kickstarter for it in May, right? So get ready, tell your friends, hype it up. There's plans, right? And we're going to do a Kickstarter for it. That way I can pay somebody to do professional formatting. I would like to get back the Katja Van Loon, right? They did the layout for Once Upon a Time in the Wyrd West. They did a great job. They're not cheap, right? And they shouldn't be, because they do good work, right? So I'd like to get them back, right? Or maybe convince Claire Ryan, who is the one who did the layout for Gunsmoke and Dragonfire, to come back and do that. And either way, I got to pay them, so that'll be a good part of what I'm asking for in the Kickstarter. I'd also like to fund some art. Right now, I'm really kind of, okay, the cover. Your book cover is the most important piece of marketing you can have. One of the reasons why The Witch's 8 Paths of Power sold so well is that it had an absolutely fucking kick-ass cover. I'll show you, actually. Right? Actually, I'll show you a couple of my books here, and you can see what I mean about cover. I just unplugged myself. And I was like not going to show you my pajama pants that I'm wearing, but you're going to see them anyway. Okay. There we go. Of the books that I have done, these are the ones that have sold the best, right? This is The Witch's 8 Paths of Power. This was my first book that was published by Red Wheel Weiser, nonfiction book on witchcraft, right? And it's done really, really, really well, I am still receiving royalties for this book. Okay, it was published in 2014. I have more than paid back my advance and have made a steady profit for, I mean, like, I can't make a living on the profit that I've made, but it's like real money, and, it makes me a pro writer, right? Um, this is the cover for Gunsmoke and Dragonfire. This was designed by my friend Erin, who does Siddall illustrations. And, I mean, come on. It's a dragon and a flying cowboy. You can't beat that, right? So these books have done well, and the reason why is because their covers have been absolutely phenomenal, right? So I'm very concerned with getting the cover right for this series, and it's hard, right? I can't just use Canva or something generic because they do not make pictures of elves in Marines uniforms in front of non-technological spaceships in space. They don't make this, right? Somebody has to create this for me. I don't have the skills to do it, right? I need to pay somebody, and that's probably going to cost most of the money that I'm going to try to raise, because it's probably going to have to be a commission. I'm probably looking in anywhere in the neighborhood of anywhere from $500 to $1,000 for this picture, and because that's what that kind of thing costs on commission, right? I've done some talking with some other cover artists that I know as a backup plan, but ultimately that is what I would really like to do, because that would sell the book. Okay, yeah, Bob's off to Harold's Table. That's awesome. Have a good day, Bob. I will be raiding there shortly, I think. Catching up on the chat, right? Let's see. Stretch says, I need to find ways to promote my Patreon more. I have a whole 2 patrons. Talk about your Patreon on your stream. And make sure to put the link in your MooBot, I think, or whatever bot you're using. I think you already have, right? And let people know what they get for your Patreon, because people want to know what they're paying for, right? I tell people what you get, So, and yeah. Yeah, me too, says Bob. Organizing my world is step 1. Yeah, you got to have something to show people. That's true. Yeah. Rowan says, there comes a time to stop fragging with it. Or as we honestly used to say in this house, stop fucking with it. Yes, the time has come to stop fucking with it. I'm doing the final edit of A Few Good Elves for my patrons right now. One of the reasons why I'm doing the accelerated publication rate is in part so I can catch up, but in part because I need to stop fucking with it and get it out there, right? So that will be done this year, right? I will get a final edit. Yeah, I've got a couple of ideas about that, right? And then I will put it out, right? There will be the Kickstarter, and I hope to put it out in August or September. So that is the plan, right? Elvin Shoe says, I'm in. Awesome. Thank you. That's great. I really hope you guys will enjoy it, right? The whole series will be published for patrons to read ongoing on World Anvil, in World Anvil manuscripts. If you have paid for a patron, if you're a patron, you've already paid for that, right? If you're a $25 plus patron, you have already paid for me to send you a book, right? That is part of the things you get. The books one book per year, I just send it to you, right? So if you're already doing that, don't worry, you're getting a copy, right? Obviously, the Kickstarter, I've done 2 successful Kickstarters now. Both of them were for book publications, right? One was for Once Upon a Time in the Weird West. One was for Gunsmoke and Dragonfire, the anthology of fantasy westerns that I edited and published. And I'm a little worried about this one, though, because I did most of that by flagging people constantly and bugging my friends on Facebook. I'm not going to be on Facebook, right? I'm not on Facebook anymore. So I need support of the community, and I hope, if nothing else, you guys will help me spread the word, right? You guys are kind of my core right? If you're taking the time to be here to hear what I'm up to, you guys care. I'm dependent on you. I hope you're willing to help me out, right? Spread the word on social media. You know, if you're on my Patreon and you're reading it and you like it, talk about that, right? And tell your friends. And when the Patreon or when the Kickstarter goes live, you know, push it, put it out there, right? Don't spam your friends. Nobody likes that, right? But tell people, take the opportunity, you know. All right, and thank you if you're going to do that. For anybody who does that, thank you very much. Right. And yeah, there will be a Patreon level or a Patreon level, a Kickstarter level where you just get the book, right? Including a hardcover version. That worked out very well for Gunsmoke and Dragonfire. I will definitely do it again for A Few Good Elves. Printing a hardcover isn't that difficult with the printer that I use, which is Ingram Spark. So yeah, it'll be an option, right? So most covers look bleak to you or to Laria, she says. They're all the same cover with slight differences. That's because book covers are posters, okay? They're movie posters for a book, right? They're advertising. The idea is to get your attention and get someone to read your book. And there are certain genre conventions that are part of what you'll get in a book cover, right? Which is another problem I'm having with this particular cover in terms of the design. Is it science fiction or is it fantasy? There are different conventions. I think the thing that would work the best, right, is kind of a, image of the character, image of the spaceship against space, right? And then that'll tell you everything you need to know about the book, right? So that's what I'm hoping anyway. Yeah, my Patreon is all D&D, TTRPG, homebrew stuff, says Stretch. Well, that's cool. So work on that stuff, right, in your stream, and make some of your stuff on World Anvil only available to patrons, and then tell patrons what they get. Yeah, it looks good, says Elvin Shoe's going to look it up. Awesome. Where is the best place to purchase my books? That depends on what you like, right? Ingram Spark should make them available on most major retailers, right? They should be available on Amazon. They should be like, okay, I do Amazon separately, so they're available on Amazon. You can also get them on Kobo, right? There's like, you can get them at, believe at Barnes and Noble. You can actually go into Barnes and Noble and order it, I think, right? So yeah, there's a bunch of different ways. What's your favorite retailer, right? I do have a tiny link that I can give you actually. So let's see. What was it? One book link. Yeah, okay. I don't remember where I put it, so or what it is. Okay, you're right. It was Universal Book Link, I think, is what I did. So just a second. I'm logging into my account and I will give you the link. Capture required. Okay, it hadn't loaded yet. I was impatient. Okay. Sorry, it's taking its time, but okay. So here we go. Oh, I could have made it easy for myself. Okay, so this is for Once Upon a Time in the Weird West. It should give you a choice of various retailers, right? And this is the one for Gunsmoke and Dragonfire, right? And those are the major ones that I have a universal links, right? Otherwise, my Amazon link is probably the best. The one that I've got in the MooBot, just a second, I think, what was it, books? Um, aha, it was so. So that's where you'll find the stuff that's my fiction under Diane Morrison, right? And then if you want my witchcraft books, you actually have to look up Sable Erodia on Amazon. Going to the .com site so that you can change things from there as you want, right? CO, UK, right? CA for Canada, you know the drill. This is for the, oh, that didn't copy. Just a second. Why didn't you copy? Text. Get link. You stupid thing. Okay. Copy. Now. There we go. And that's for my pagan books there. So, in that one, I've just got The Witch's 8 Passive Power and 2 anthologies that I contributed to. So, yeah. And thank you for asking the question, Stretch. That's helpful. I appreciate it. I hope people enjoy. There's ebooks, right? There's, physical copies. The only ones that are available in hardcover, though, are Once Upon a Time in the Weird West and Gunsmoke and Dragonfire. So, wait, what? I get stuff for being a patron? You're hilarious, Elvin Juice. That's the tricky part, what to give them, says Dinosaur Bob. Maybe it's time for me to do another Patreon workshop thing. Do you guys want me to do that? I could do that as a Sable's World Forge episode if you guys would like, say early February. Yes, Patreon is all about rewarding patrons for their donations, says Stretch. Yeah, it totally is, right? Patrons, I would rather have one patron, right, that pays $1 a month forever, right, than I would some rando who comes in and springs for every hardcover I've ever produced and every book I ever wrote all at once, right? I would much rather have that, because your patrons they're your core people, right? They're the ones that drive your community. They're the ones who make you feel like it's all worth it, right? So yeah, right, definitely, totally. Patrons deserve to be respected. That's absolutely the case. Lauria says, I barely use Patreon rewards. I normally support people I like because they need money too. And thank you so much for that, by the way. Because, yeah, it's really hard to make a living as a creative in this society, right? So I really do appreciate all the support. That is awesome. And thank you for that. And the truth is, you're not alone. Most people who support other creators do it because they value what they're creating and they want to support it, and they value them as a person, right? That's there's all kinds of information about how to grow your Patreon on Patreon, right? And I read it, and they tell you that, right? People are more interested in supporting you than any of the stuff you create, and that's awesome, right? So but I still want the stuff to be available because you guys are my core, right? Because you are supporting me. So, yeah. Harold isn't up yet. Boo. Okay. He might be waiting for me. I'll finish up really quickly. I'm almost done, guys. Right. I support just because I like what I hear and see, says Elvin Shoes. And it's simple. Talking about it makes you want to write. Writing is fun. Exactly. Legit. Yeah, Lauria says, yeah, I have turned resilient to advertising to the point that I turn a blind eye to anything that looks like it's trying to sell me anything. One of the big mistakes that indie authors tend to make is that they create their Twitter account, right? And then they fill it with other people's book advertisements. Don't do that. Nobody wants a commercial stream, right? They're not interested in that. They already get that every time they open Twitch or YouTube. They're not interested in that, right? Talk to people, right? Even if it's to bitch about politics like I did last night, you know, then they know who you are, right? And maybe they want to connect with you and make a, right? Yeah. Okay, Loria says what catches my eyes these days is things that are clearly different. Well, I'm glad you feel that my stuff is our stuff. Erin's stuff too, right? It's truly different. That's great. Thank you. That's really a high compliment. Yeah. Stretch says just put myself on the calendar for the slot between the World Anvil webinar and Erin's stream. We'll be working on some homebrew. Not sure what yet. Okay, I will try to make it. I don't think I have any plans, so awesome. Workshop sounds good, says Stretch. Okay, we'll do that. Owen Shoe says, did that, bought a few books first, didn't have time to read, but decided to get more in, so Patreon. That's awesome. Well, thank you for that. Right on. You guys are amazing. Okay, so yeah, so that's the big plan this year, right? We're gonna publish a few good elves. It's gonna be a thing, right? And we're aiming for August or September for the publication and May for the Kickstarter, right? So mark that on your calendar, guys. Right? Hopefully, I'm gonna need your help, and and we'll get it out there and we'll get it done, right? The other thing that I got caught up on this month is of less interest to some people, but it's a thing. There's some of you who are aware that we do a game in the Toy Soldier Saga universe that happened every Monday night. First of all, that has changed to Sunday night. It now starts at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is still stupid o'clock in the morning, like 1 o'clock in the morning, right, for GMT, right? But that's better than 3 o'clock in the morning, I suppose, or 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, and that's on Sunday night. And the reason why we had to change it is because Monday just wasn't working anymore. We had just had too many things to do on Monday, right? Yeah, 1 a.m. GMT. Thank you. Thank you, Siobhan. That's right. Siobhan's one of our players, for those who don't know, right? And it takes place in kind of the prehistory of the books. It centers around a lot of major NPCs in the NPCs or supporting characters, right? Or side characters, depending on whether you're coming from role playing games, traditional publishing, or indie publishing, right? But it takes place centered around them that appear in the novels, right? It's sort of them as kids, younger, not kids, but younger adults, right? At the beginning, or well, right now, kind of the prelude to the first Interstellar War. The events in the books take place around the second Interstellar War, right? So, and it's already gone off the rails a bit from what I had initially written. So I'm not sure how much of it is going to be canon, but some of it will. But anyway, if not, it's an alternate universe. Those exist in the Toy Soldier Saga. It's part of my physics, so it works, right? And anyway, it's a lot of fun. I've been holding back on putting out the back episodes, and the reason why is because I wanted to get the first episode finished, episode 0. And the thing about it was that my voice was completely, because we were like brand new to streaming, right? I was completely unintelligible because there was an enormous echo every time I spoke. So I re-recorded it, like all of my parts. I basically voice acted myself and re-recorded all of that. And now what I'm trying to do is piece it together in edits so that, it replaces where I had talked in the original recording, and then I was going to put it all out. The problem is it's taking me forever because audio editing like that takes forever, right? I hate it, so I tend to procrastinate it, right? And I've really actually not had the time. I've had quite a lot of other things to do. So what I finally did is I'd archived all of the back episodes. I downloaded the first one, right? And then I archived all the rest on YouTube, and they've just been sitting there as private videos. So now they're coming out, right? I'm releasing them at one a day, and I started at the beginning of January, right? Until they're all released. They're all currently, they will appear on, linked to their session entry on the World Anvil page as well, right? So the, let's see, here's the address for the World Anvil campaign page. Got to spell, actually, right? Yeah, there it is. And one episode per day will come out until they're all done. We just finished recording episode 31, which is actually our 32nd episode. That was last week. Episode 32 will be this week. So, yeah. So you can actually catch up and find out what the hell is going on so that if the campaign interests you, you can figure it out. Right? I'm sorry it took so long to put it out. I will put out the episode 0 when I get it done. I'm not making any promises as to when that is, but at least you'll have from episode 1 and you'll be able to follow. So, all right. Doing stuff takes time, says Elvin Shoes. Yeah, I have far less time than I would like to do because right now I can't hire a staff. You know what I'm saying? um, yeah, Stretch says audio editing is a pain in the ass. Elvin Shoes says not for someone who is good at audio. I hate audio editing. I hate it. I hate video editing too, actually. Unless I'm doing it to compose something, right? And even then, it's way more time consuming than it needs to be, right? So yeah, I tend to avoid it, right? And this is bad for a lot of reasons, but this is why I do Twitch, because I don't have to edit anything. It's supposed to be live, right? So it's cool. Yeah, I have all the time in the world, says Elven Shoes. Well, hope so. Like Game of Thrones, Vince, said Siobhan. You know what? I had great fun doing those. They were a lot of fun. They were a lot of work, right? I'm clearing pretty much everything else I possibly can off my schedule for Game of Thrones this coming year. I'm going to get everything else is going to be done by somebody else, right? Because all I got time for is videos. So that's my plan, right? So yeah. Um, I'm sorry you're struggling to listen to two things at once, Siobhan. Does that mean that Harold is up? Because, like I said, I'll go rate him. Stretch says, true, I've done it before and I'm a total noob. Yeah, I'm a total noob, really. Ellen Shu says, lol, I have that with map making, 3D imaging, photography, and editing photos. Yeah, I hear you there too. Building my website, trying to come up with something interesting to rate. Oh, it was Sparkles who called you. Okay, right. And Elvin Shoes says, and then that annoying thing called work every fucking day. 8 hours wasted earning money. I hear that. I hear that. It's not very fulfilling, is it? Yeah, depending on the job. I sympathize. Looks like Erin will not be joining me today. Okay, that's all right. All right, so was there anything else that I had to discuss? No, I got that out. There's the big plan for the year. I'm back on schedule with stuff happening on Patreon. I covered that. Erin. Yes. Erin is doing some neat stuff in the Toy Soldier Saga, and I should share this with you too. He has really stepped up the gaming production, and this is of particular interest to our $5 plus patrons because, of course, that is where you get the gaming information, right? So, let's see here. Okay, going to articles and categories. And then I'll switch to the other view from there. Because he has been inspired by Dazzlecat. Now, those of you who are following World Ember will know that Dazzlecat, who is one of the, active people in our community, right? She created a race called the Nistlings, a species. And basically they're kobolds from D&D style stuff, only she really made them her own, right? A lot of the stuff that she was doing is stuff that we had already discussed, Erin and I, about ways in which we wanted to expand on the kobolds. It's a big thing for us, right? There's a bunch of species in fantasy gaming that are created to be fodder for paladins to slay, right? Nobody ever pays any attention to their culture or who they are as people. They're just not interested in that. They're like, you're a kobold, so you're bad by nature, so we're just gonna, chop your head off. And we don't like that, right? We think that builds an unhealthy attitude. It can be fun every once in a while, I suppose, but like, we thought, let's expand on some stuff. So kobolds are one of these things. Anyway, he thought that the kobolds, of course, like the way they're presented are a D&D concept. So Daz came up with her own version called the Nistlings. She was thinking along the same lines that we were. Erin said, and I said, independently of each other, by the way, can we steal this? She said, sure. So we have now incorporated her world into our world, right? And her world is canon in the Toy Soldier Saga now, right? Pandora, I think it's called, right? Pandoro, right? But the Nistlings come from there. Oh, this graphic's way too big. We're going to have to make a smaller version of this. I just realized how long. But check this out. This is a Hero Forge created Draconian Nistling. This one has red dragon ancestry. And here is his article. Here's a black dragon one from the swamp. And he kind of incorporated this into a backstory. Here's a ninja. That's pretty cool. He's incorporated this into a backstory thing with our world of Draconia, which was a homebrew world we had created for gaming in ages and ages ago. It's like the first world I created when I said, I'm going to create my own world as a DM, right? So back when is how it started. And of course, Erin has been helping me create it for many years. I'm going to hide all these under buttons, but I haven't gotten around to editing it yet. Oh, and Daz saw it, so that's cool, right? Yes. So we're going to have links to her world so that you can get the origins of it, but we're expanding on it. He's been working very hard. He's been very inspired by these guys, and he's doing some good work. So that's fun, right? Another thing we're doing is updating some of the game statistics for various things that we haven't, I should actually like his article, right? That we've been meaning to get around to, right? And we're going to be organizing them more effectively. There's also going to be gaming portals for particular game systems that we're going to be working on over the next few months, so that, say you want to play Pathfinder, like we said, is the first system we're developing, but we're also going to develop it for AD&D, for D&D 5e, right, for Ethnos Light, and I don't remember what the other one was. And I mean to talk to Toblin about CD10 too. I probably will do that as well. So yeah, lots of gaming stuff coming up this year. Erin has been working really hard. So, and I wanted you guys to know. Okay, gang, I think that's about all I have for you today, right? Basically, the takeaway is we're back on the horse. We're getting a few good elves out this year. We're getting more gaming stuff out this year for the Patreon, right? I'm looking for a cover artist, and if you guys have any requests, let me know, right? One thing you can do, which you may not be aware of, is a $5 patron, because it's not something that I had a chance to really discuss with Erin, right? But he says, well, if people who are, paying for the game content want to see the stats for a particular thing, just tell me and I'll make it. So it includes that. You want him to develop a particular thing. Sometimes he just doesn't know what direction to create in. Tell him you want it, right? If you're one of our gaming patrons, go, I would like to see the stats on a Star Shark. Okay, we'll do it, Right. Pangoria, that's it. Thank you very much, Siobhan. Pangoria. Siobhan says, I want to play a Nistling. I do too. I think they sound like great fun, right? I would like to play as a guinea pig. That's awesome. That is awesome. Oh, I love that kind of animal since I saw Crowfall. I have, okay, I actually do have a guinea pig. There is a species in the Toy Soldier Saga, and it's like, it's a callback to the giant space hamsters of Spelljammer, which are themselves a callback to a variety of, giant form animals in, space opera and science fiction in the classic era. But um, basically, it's a space guinea pig. It comes in a variety of rainbow colors, and it has a giant form. Yeah, so it's a thing. There's also space goats if you're interested in those. I'll get those Tyrannid stat blocks written up in ping format soon. Awesome. So yeah, they're a thing, and they're smart. Right? They're smarter than you would think they are. Yeah. So that's fun. Because why not? Because it's fun. So, oh shit, what's up? Hello, the Egress. I don't think I've seen you here before, and I don't know what you're referring to. We're just about to end the stream, and actually, it's gone pretty well so far. So, yeah. But welcome. This is the end of our community stream where we tell people what we're planning on working on over the next month, what we have coming up, and kind of a broad spectrum for the next year. I hope you're not having major issues with... Now, did I put the link to his Nistling article in the chat? I did not. Okay, I will do that. Right? This is Erin's Nistling article. Right? Where you can check that out for yourself. And I believe all the game stat stuff is hidden behind secrets. Sorry, not everything can be available to the public, or nobody would ever support the Patreon, right? But that's only $5 a month, gang, right? We also finished the article on the bug suits. Those of you who have been following our game stream will know what that's all about. So Erin has written this one as well, and this one is written from the perspective of like one of the scholars in our world whose name will sound familiar to you. So it's got a very different style, and I pointed out that he had been the one to write it. I don't know if he's written on the Nistling one yet because he wasn't finished last time I looked at it, and I'm not sure he's finished now. It might still be a work in progress, but at least it's publicly available, right? And I did. Now, I was hoping I would make the ethnicity class before the end of World Ember, but I think I must have missed the deadline for publishing the article because it's not under my World Ember articles. So I finished editing it. It's done for now, right? I'm satisfied with it, right? There'll probably be alterations in the future. There it is. My Balorians are an important ethnic group of orcs that are very central to Book 2 and 3. Right, so. And encounters with them are also important in Book 1. So, they're a thing. There they are. And that's the Toy Soldier Saga I'm talking about. I haven't said a lot about the Weird West. That's because I haven't been actively writing the Weird West. But part of the plan is to, once I have things where they need to be for the Toy Soldier Saga to put out another Weird West story and start serializing that again, and I am working on that. I am still publishing chapters to patrons weekly. So, and I will finish the read thing as soon as my voice recovers. As you can tell, my voice seems to be a little... It's because I have a bad tooth. I have a dentist appointment. It's going to get dealt with, but until then, my voice is a little rough. So, anyway, I think that's it for State of the Multiverse today, unless anybody has any questions. Thank you for joining me. And in the meantime, I do believe we're going to raid Harold. Is Harold up? Did he go up? He is up. Excellent. Okay. So we're gonna, I don't believe there's any 31 days people up at this time, right? Oh, Oxtaze's up and Twinkle Toes. Okay, so most of you, however, appear to be World Anvilites. So Twinkle Toes the Berserker, Oxtaze, or Harold's Table, who is an excellent game content streamer. He talks about Foundry VTT. He does a lot of really awesome maps, right? He works in both fantasy and science fiction. He does Pathfinder 2e stats a lot. He's awesome. Somebody plays Warhammer 40k, I see. Yeah, orcs, we gonna raid him. He gonna down. All right, boys. I love Warhammer orcs. They're fun. My orcs are not like Warhammer orcs. All right, so I think we're gonna raid Harold unless anybody has any objection. Thank you so much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun. You'd rather raid Twinkle Toes? Okay, in that case, what I will do is I will put... I do intend to support the 31 days challenge. So I am giving priority to the 31 days streamers in case you haven't checked them out. So I'm going to put Harold's URL here in the chat. If you are interested in gaming content, please check him out. He is awesome. And I don't think he gets as much attention as he deserves. So, you know, give him some love. In the meantime, we will raid Twinkle Toes. Don't forget that our raid call is prepare to be boarded because we are the Sable's privateers. You are the Sable's privateers. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun, as always. Wow! Yeah. Elven Shoes likes Twinkle Toes, they tickle. So we're off. Have a good day, everyone. I will see you at 2 p.m. my time. That is in about 1.5 hours for Diane Actually Writes, where we'll be doing writing sprints. And otherwise, Erin is on tomorrow with Ask an Old GM at 1 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. GMT. Have a great day.